What's up, idols? It's Cece Lesson 3. Welcome back to my channel. If it starts to get dark gradually in this video, it's the second video I'm filming, so sunset's at like 3:30 p.m. here. It's gonna get dark, I'm sorry. Forgive my wet hair. Condition, rinse, dew, all that good stuff. I'm trying to multitask while it dries. Boy, oh boy, do we have a juicy story for y'all. She wanted me to read this first. Like, she wanted me to start off the video by reading this to y'all so y'all know what we're gonna get into. I got played so hard in Seoul. I'm over it now, and this was years ago. After watching your vlogs, I decided to go to Korea, but don't worry, I don't blame you for what happened to me, hee hee. Also, I have a partner now, and I'm happier than I've ever been, but I gotta share this story with you because men and their capacity for audacity. I want to warn my fellow girlies out there. I used to be so innocent, pure, and wholesome, and I bought into that beautiful sweetness I saw on Korean TV because I thought Korean men were that way too.
Got him!
So listen to this cautionary tale and don't fall for the same BS I did. I hope you'll listen to this story, and as Tyra Banks once said, learn something from this! So like, y'all see the title and you see what's on the thumbnail, so I think with that and this little explanation that you know what we're about to get into. Before we start, I have a small request. Please help make this video successful by watching until the end, engage with it, leave a like, and a comment. Binge other videos on my playlist. There are so many story times we've told on this channel at this point. And without further ado,
Lego.
this story starts in the summer of 2019 where Minnie was there in Korea for a working holiday visa. She'd been a fan of K-drama since like 2015, and she started to dabble into K-pop a little bit, so she was like, you know what, I'm young, I'm mobile, let me make this happen, I want to go abroad. You know, not to brag, but she had no problem getting dates or everything. I mean, I've seen her picture, she's gorgeous. She had no problems, you know, getting dates with dudes. It was the quality of those men that were the problem. She matched with a lot of guys on Tinder. I know. Tinder. She met up with a few, but most of them ended before it even really had a chance to start. They jumped straight into the FWB, the DVD bong, the love motel. They look so sweet, wholesome, and innocent on their profile pictures, and the first thing they say to you is that they want to smash. There was, however, this one guy who was incredibly sweet and different from the rest so far. We're gonna call him Kuang because he's a dud, and his name doesn't need to be nice. So when they matched on Tinder, the very first thing he said to her was, "My English is poor, but I really want to talk with you. Stunning. I'll do my best." So then she replied to him like, oh my god, this is the first message I've gotten from a guy that wasn't straight about like trying to get in my underwear, trying to sleep with me, so this is really nice so far. And then he said, "I'm sorry for you. Why are we like this? It can't be helped because you're so beautiful. Most men have no control." Pause. That is a red flag to me. I'm so sick of this notion that, oh, poor men, they can't help themselves when they see ass, when they see boobs, when they see a pretty face. They can't help but to force themselves and be very rude and ungentlemanly and just hop on it. Like, no!
No!
Like, I'm so over this boys will be boys and women we should cover up just to prevent any sort of temptation in their way. We don't want to tempt them too much because then it's our fault. Sorry, I forgot myself for a moment. Back to the story. So this conversation was just so normal, and she found that so refreshing. So when he asked her if she'd like to spend a warm summer day behind river, she was absolutely thrilled. So in between their hangouts, like even before they met up for the first time, he would text her like, good morning, make sure you eat something healthy and nutritious, don't work too hard, stay cool, it's really hot outside, like all these cute little considerate texts. As they were texting, he decided, if we want to go by Han River and take advantage of such a nice day, then why don't we make a picnic out of it? And she could not wait because she had this really cute midi summer dress that she wanted to wear, put her hair up in a bow, wear some wedge sandals. So they agreed to meet up at the exit, like at a station, and when she saw him, wow, like I'm not being catfished, he's this fine in person. She said he had on like beige pants with like this white loose linen shirt and some sandals, and like his hair, just think Jack Dawson from Titanic, like the slick to the side, playful with, oh, so cute, sounds so cute. And he also had the picnic basket with him, and just homie showed up on date one dressed like boyfriend. And then she said when they finally got close enough to each other, he gave her like this one of those cute like air hugs because I guess he didn't want to make her uncomfortable or whatever. So they found a nice spot on the grass that was in the shade by the water, and he finally pulled out everything he had in the basket. He has some cookies, he has some apple juice, he has some kimbap, blanket of course, he has some water, and he also has some chips that they could just like open the bag and eat straight from the bag. And she thought it was so cute. She was like, oh my god, like where'd you get this basket? He said, oh, I got it from Daiso, and then I went to Art Box and like made it pretty. I added these flowers. I'm like, he made a basket? That's so sweet. And And she's like, oh my god, this looks so nice. And he's like, oh, well, speaking of nice, you look amazing too. Like, great nunchi, you match the basket. So they're sitting down by the river, they're people watching, they're enjoying their snacks, they're getting to know each other. She said he was an open book. Like, he talked about his sister, he talked about his work, he talked about his parents, he talked about his studies, he talked about his hobbies, he was very athletic. Like, he just, everything. Like, he wasn't hiding anything. He wasn't like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. He talked about everything with her. Like, at first she was worried about the language barrier because his first message to her was, I'm not so good at English, but like, for you, I will try. But she said even as much as she hates him now, we're gonna find out why, and she should hate him, but she said he definitely was like way too hard on himself for his English skills. Like, they were actually he was really good at English. She was also trying to learn a bit of Korean, so she wanted to see how far she could go speaking with him before she was just like, okay, can we switch to English? I don't know what we're talking about anymore. And for this picnic, they met around 1 in the afternoon, and before they knew it, it was sunset. So they're sitting there finishing up their snacks, watching the sunset, and at this point along the river, there's singers coming out and people who were buskering, and it was just, she said it was her own little slice of like a K-drama reality. The whole date, he was a complete gentleman. He didn't try anything. He wasn't suggestive. Like, it was just a normal conversation. Like, they felt very friendly, but he was also the appropriate amount of flirty. So now that it's dark and the sun is set, he walks her back to the exit and gets ready to like help her go home. But before he does, he asks her if she wanted the basket because she kept talking about it all day. She was like, this is such a pretty basket, it's so cute, I really like it. He's like, well, if you want it, you know, you can have it. It'll be a good way to remember our first date. And she's like, really? And as she was about to leave, Kuang asked her, would it be all right if he could see her again? And she's like, oh my god, absolutely. Like, if you weren't gonna ask, then I definitely was going to. So then he kissed her on the cheek and they parted ways, they left. So yeah, that was an incredible first date. And she said she went home, she couldn't stop thinking about him. She just, everything that he said, he smelled so nice, he looked so nice, he talked so nice, like everything was just perfect. And then she started to think like, bro, ain't no way, like this is way too good to be true. And as soon as those intrusive thoughts began to creep into her mind, he texted her, snapped her out of it. He asked her if she got home safely, if she had fun today, because he had fun getting to know her. And he asked if the next time they meet up, if they could go do some like golf swinging some balls, golf club. She thought it was really sweet because she could tell he was like a proper listener, because it's something that she mentioned on their date that she always wanted to try. She's like, I've never played golf a day in my life. I'm not really that athletic, but it always looks so much fun in the movies and stuff. So one of these days I would love to try that. She just said like guys back home were nothing like this. You know, it's in one ear, out the other. As soon as they see you and they see that you look good, they want to jump right into see like, how long before she lets me fuck? Now let's jump to the next date, shall we? They met up at the golf swinging thingy. I'm sure there's a proper name for it, but you swing a golf club at some balls and see how far you can go. A driving range, I don't know what they're called. And like, y'all know how in the movies, like when the girl don't really know what she's doing and the guy like comes behind her and tries to guide her and help her? Yeah, that happened. But my boy got consent first. First of all, can we snap for the consent? He got consent.
So if you're ready, and if you let me.
He said, first, I gotta get close. Is it okay? And she's like, absolutely, please come close to me. And once he put his arms around her, she just felt like his embrace. And she was like, oh, like my man's is ripped. Oh my God, I can feel these muscles. And she said she felt her knees kind of.
I get so weak in the knees, I can hardly speak.
And she said it was at this moment that she thought about sleeping with him for the first time. But it is important to note that she is a virgin at this point, so she was thinking he might be a nice guy to lose my virginity to.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
One thing she said, she really liked how seriously he was taking this because, you know, it was just casual swinging, but because she said she really wanted to get good at it, he took a lot of effort to show her like how to improve. To her surprise, she actually started to get better. And Kuang said he was really proud of her and she was really happy. So they went to get food and they decided to go hit up a bar and get some drinks. One thing she liked about him, and she said was a green flag, is he said he doesn't like to drink all that much. He said, I know this is the Korean way of life, but it's so bad for you. I don't like to drink that much. My dad drinks a lot. I don't want to be like that. You shouldn't drink a lot either. Which is cute, but also you don't control me. As they were about to leave, instead of kissing her on the cheek this time, he kissed her on the forehead, which is so cute. Another successful date. So this is 2 good dates so far. So for their third date, they went to a pool party, and this was the time where she actually got to meet some of Kuang's friends. When she saw him in his swimming trunks, she was like, damn. Homeboy was pretty sculpted. She was nervous about meeting his friends, but they were also really, really nice. They didn't really speak English that well at all, but they would like thumbs up and ding and like bring her over and laugh with her. And there was one girl where they end up kind of hitting it off and they actually exchanged phone numbers. Please keep this in mind. One of Kuang's friends hits it off with Minnie and they end up exchanging phone numbers. this girl's gonna come back later in the story. So after meeting his friends and having fun at this pool party, they went out on other dates. Like they went to the movies, they went out to dinner, they had brunch, they went to museums, they checked out some exhibits, they biked, they even went to Lotte World. And the more time she spent with him, she was absolutely sure that she wanted him to be her first. And one thing she really liked is he never brought that up. She said low-key she was kind of wondering if he was gay and like maybe using her as a cover, but it was really refreshing to hang out with a guy who wasn't thinking or talking or verbalizing sex so much. She said at this point the only thing that could make their relationship better, in her opinion, was if they went all the way. I'm curious, like I know people say like your first time is supposed to be so important, it's so memorable, you never forget your first. I don't want to be too intrusive, but like comment below, what was your first time a good experience? Was it with a good person? Do you wish it wasn't them? Me, for example, I waited till I was 22 and the guy I was with, no regrets, he's still the longest relationship I've ever had. He was such a sweetheart, such a good guy, and the only reason we didn't work out is because I moved to Korea and it became a distance thing. And if y'all are nosy, I did do a video with him back in 2020 if y'all wanna like briefly peruse. But yeah, we met in uni and he was a good guy. I only have 2 exes that I'm like cool with. He's one of them. Anyway, so now Minnie has to decide, how can I approach Kuang with this request without coming across as thirsty or thotty? One day she decided to just kind of call him, right? Because they did talk on the phone every now and then. They would kind of talk about your day and what food you could eat or a movie to watch or a TV show I just saw. So it wasn't like it was an unusual thing for them to talk on the phone. But what was unusual is when she got on the phone with him, she decided to just ask, so when's the last time you had sex? He laughed. I imagine him like, oh, kapjagi, wait. And then she said she wanted to tell him something. He's like, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? She said, well, actually, I'm a virgin. And there was a long pause. And this pause ended when he said, oh, I'm not.
Damn!
He's like, okay, well, you know, I'm just curious, like, when was the last time? He said, oh, I think it was maybe about a year ago, maybe a little bit more. Why do you ask? I said, I'm just curious, like, I'm just trying to get to know you better. Can I ask why it's been a year or over a year? He said he thinks he's just too busy for an intimate relationship. She's like, oh, well, you're not too busy for me. Like, if we became intimate, would you not have time for me anymore? All he said was, oh. The fuck kind of response is oh when a girl is telling you that she's trying to let you smash? So naturally, Minnie's like, oh damn, this is embarrassing, this is awkward, abort, and she just hung up the phone. Poor girl. Kuang called back and she did not answer. So then he texted her and said, are you okay? Like, what happened? She made up some BS like, oh, I think the call dropped, something's up with my Wi-Fi, but I gotta work in the morning anyway, so I'll talk to you about this later, bye! A few days go by and her embarrassment kind of drops a little bit and she's like, it is what it is, fine, we can just go on dates, I don't gotta fuck him, I'll just move on from this. So she kind of let that idea of him being her first escape her mind. She let it go. A few days later, Kuang hit her up and said, hey, are you free to catch dinner? I really want to go to this restaurant and I think you'd like it too. So they meet at the restaurant, they have one of their awkward air hugs again. Normal conversation first, like they're having their meal, it's great. And then he finally just decided to ask her, are you still thinking about sex?
What did he say?
She's like, it's not that I was thinking about it, I was just curious because like I've never done it before. But like forget it, it's cool, we can go back to how things have been, like I still like hanging out with you like this too. No, now Kuang has other ideas. It's been incepted into his mind. He has another plan. He said, we could get a hotel if you're really curious, I've taken Virginity before. Flag on the play. Cammy, that is a red flag. Homie made it seem like he's walking around collecting virginities like he's collecting fucking infinity stones. But she was still indeed curious, and part of her, because she was older, she was kind of having this mindset of like, get it over with, sort of, where, I mean, they've been going out like a lot and he's still talking to her and he's a really nice guy. He's attractive, he's romantic, he's interesting, he's funny. She's like, I could do worse than this. So part of her was like, fuck it, yeah, let's do it. So he said, okay, this weekend we could make this arrangement. Don't worry, I will plan everything. So now we jump into the night, the passionate night at the hotel. Kuang greeted her in the lobby with a gift and she's like, oh, like, whoa, what is this? You didn't have to get me anything. So then they go upstairs and that's when he says, now you can look and see what it is. And it's like a nightie, like a white lingerie-ish thing. He's like, wow, this is so pretty. And he also had wine and fruit as well. It was indeed very romantic, and he said that he wanted it to be special since it was her first time. But she did want to shower first because it's summer, homegirl's sweaty, she's probably nervous as hell. And he said, okay, you can shower, I'll light these candles and I'll wait for you. Shit got real when she got in the shower. She's like, oh my god, Lee, this is about to happen. Like, I've waited 20 something years, like this is about to happen, oh my god. So she gets out of the bathroom and Kuang's in a robe and he's holding like 2 wine glasses with like the wine bottle ready to pour so they can get a little loose. So anyway, you know, they had some of the fruit, they had some of the snacks and drank, and they sat there and talked for a little bit. We don't need too much details, y'all know what happened, right? She said it was a little uncomfortable, but he was gentle and it felt good to be in his arms. So after they were done, Kuang asked her if she was okay, how was it, would she want to try again in a little bit? And he kind of just went back to being his normal self, like his funny, sweet, considerate, goofy sort of self. And she was like, okay, like I don't think this is gonna ruin us or change this too much, like I feel happy about this. And they did do it a few more times that night, and she said it did gradually get better and better.
And that's why night after night I'll be loving you right.
Now it's the next morning at checkout. He asked her when she'd be free again because he wanted to take her to a batting cage. He was like, it was hilarious watching you swing at the golf balls. I want to see you swing at some baseballs. And she was really relieved that he showed interest in still hanging out with her where it doesn't have to be like just the sexual thing. This is where things take a turn.
Several days later.
So she gets to the exit where he asked her to meet him because they would usually meet at like a subway stop or station. That was like the most convenient meetup place. And once she gets there, she's surprised because she's never the one that's there first. Kuang was always early. Like she always felt bad about showing up a little bit late or on time because he'd been waiting there early. So she's waiting, she's looking around. Doesn't see Kuang anywhere. After about 15 minutes or so, she decided to call him. He picked up, but then he hung up. I was like, that's odd. Maybe the call dropped. Happened to me too. So then she texted him and said, hey, I'm here. Where are you? He left her on red. So then she tried calling him again. He picked up. She heard moaning for like 7 or 8 seconds and then it hung up again. So after waiting for about 45 minutes, she said fuck it and went back home because he wasn't answering her. So a few hours later, after she's home, he called her and asked why she didn't show up.
He needs some milk.
She's like, I was there for 45 minutes. What do you mean I didn't show up? I called you, you hung up. I called you again, you hung up. I texted you, you didn't reply. So I left after about 45 minutes. So then she wanted to confirm the address. She was like, you told me to meet you here, right? And he's like, yeah, that's where I told you to meet me. And she's like, well, that's where I was and I did not see you and you didn't answer me, so I left. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean. I don't think I got your call. And then she said, also, what was that noise I heard the second time I tried to call you? He's like, what noise? I don't know what you're talking about. Homeboy is gaslighting harder than Edward Cullen when he saved Bella from that truck.
How did you get over to me so fast?
I was standing right next to you, Bella.
No, you were next to your car, across the lot.
No, I wasn't.
You stopped the van.
Well, nobody's gonna believe you. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, she never heard from Kuang again after that. It's one thing to smash and then never contact her again, but to smash and then make plans and then wait for her to show up and then act like she's crazy for showing up and then ghosting?
He's a phantom.
She didn't get the good morning text the next day, the eat something healthy, nothing. She just never heard from him again. He was not responding to her text messages anymore. So she decided to reach out to the pool party friend. Remember the girl that she got like well acquainted with and then kind of hit it off? So she texted her and asked, is Kuang okay? She's like, yes, he's okay. What do you mean? Why do you ask? And she said, I hadn't heard from him in a while. And do you want to know what the friend said to Minnie? She said, oh, maybe his new girlfriend is taking much of his time. Minnie's like, I'm sorry, what? Girlfriend? For saying, yeah, he started seeing a new girl about a week ago. We assumed that it didn't work out with you and him, so he started to see this other girl. But there's a bit of an overlap. So then she's like, why not just tell me if you got a girl? Why not just tell me if you're interested in someone else? Why gaslight me? Why play dumb? So Minnie had to lick her wounds and move on. She blocked him and that was that. So she wanted to move on and enjoy the rest of her time in Korea. And one distant day, she didn't specify how much distance into the future this was, but the friend reached out to Minnie and said, hey, are you okay? Minnie's like, I'm fine. Why? What's up? Like the same thing in reverse. And she said, oh, well, Kuang's been trying to get in touch with you.
And
He wants to know if you're still in Korea. So she says, yeah, I'm still in Korea, but I don't have anything to say to him. I have no reason to talk to him again. And then she said, okay, that makes sense. I think he wants to talk with you again because him and his last relationship ended.
You look so dumb right now.
So she said to tell him that she's not interested, tell him I'm seeing someone new, which wasn't true, but she wanted him to believe it was. And that was indeed the last she had talked to that friend, the last she heard from or talked to Kuang at all. Like she was totally done. The way he did her was so wrong.
Expose him!
Like she said, it's one thing to smash and then leave, because that's what a lot of guys do, but to smash and then make plans and then can't, like, ghost on the plans, I guess, and then make it seem like she's crazy for following through with the plan. I don't, what does that, what? Like, what is the purpose?
What was the reason?
I had a reason.
What was the
I had a
reason?
reason.
What was the reason?
I just explained the reason.
What was the reason, bitch?
But yeah, you guys can see it is quite dark. So I'm ending this now. I need to do something with this. Please binge the videos that are about to pop up on the playlist at the end. And thank you guys so much for watching. If you did, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Annyeong.